Hey y'all, it's Tonette. BJ and I are back with more answers to the question, where y'all been? These are our experiences and our opinion. Our goal is to inform, inspire, and entertain. In this episode, we share where we traveled in the spring of 2025 to poke our noses in some of everybody's business. To get notified of future videos, subscribe to this channel and sign up for notifications. In mid-March, we traveled to Jacksonville, Florida for BJ Mom's 70th birthday. First, we had lunch with cousins and watched my nephew play basketball. Next, we met family for a birthday dinner at Texas Roadhouse. The following day, we enjoyed a nice brunch by Chef Marie. In early May, we traveled back to Jacksonville, Florida, where we took our granddaughter on her first road trip and beach trip before we attended my sister's 10th wedding anniversary party. In mid-May, we traveled to Atlanta, Georgia for my nephew or summer son's high school graduation and chilled in an Airbnb with family. Then in late May, we traveled to Fernandina Beach, Florida for my aunt's 70th birthday party. And while we were in town, we attended the graduation party for several younger cousins in Kingston, Georgia. The first week of June, we took some time off and slowly made our way to Chicago, Illinois. On May 30th, we drove overnight to get to Laurel, Maryland and met up with one of my best friends at her son's soccer game. The next thing we did was revisited 250 Barbecue while introducing it to my friend. We also made a stop for crab cakes at a new spot before we continued our drive to the Poconos area. We stayed in the Wilkes-Barre area. Then we went on a little hike nearby to see some nice waterfalls. I took my tail a little further into the trail and fell. After changing clothes and purchasing some bandages, we drove to Rochester, New York, and met one of BJ's cousins for a late lunch. Next, we drove to Niagara Falls. This was a revisit for us, but this time we had our passports, so we were able to go to the Canada side. We arrived on Sunday evening and stayed through Tuesday. During our time there, we worked remotely one day, then we went on a dinner date in Canada to a restaurant that sits right next to the falls. We also tried some great desserts and drove around the area. We felt the Canada side was way better than the American side. June 3rd, we drove across Canada to get to Michigan. We made a stop in Sinai to see Lake Huron. Then we continued to Detroit. In Detroit, we went on a dinner date to a soul food restaurant downtown. It was interesting to see a green book patio at the restaurant since we mentioned it in our very first episode. On June 4th, we finally made it to our hotel in Hammond, Indiana, and began our quest in Chicago, Illinois. We went into the city to try deep dish pizza at a new spot, then we got some rest. June 5th, we found a famous person's childhood home and told our family who was still on the way to the area all about it. Then we went back into the city to try some new restaurants. That evening, we ate somewhere new in the Hammond, Indiana area. Friday, June 6th, we tried a barbecue place in Indiana while the rest of our family went to the Stars' childhood home. Then we met up with everybody in the city and went on a tour of the Chicago River. I wanted to take the gondola ride, but apparently Chicago doesn't have those anymore. After the boat tour, we walked around the city in separate groups. Some of us even met up at a nearby park to enjoy the sights and free blues festival. Just before we met cousins and a family friend at Giordano's nearby. On June 7th, we attended BJ niece's graduation at the University of Chicago. The hospitality was unmatched with any graduation we ever attended. The school provided lunches and desserts to all attendees. After graduation, most of us drove around and found another famous person's childhood home on one side of the university. Then on the other side of the university, we located the homes of several famous people, including a former president. After exploring, we met family at a restaurant nearby for dinner. Then BJ and I took a nap before we headed back east. We woke up after midnight to a drained car battery and got some roadside assistance. Next, we drove overnight to Ohio, but first we stopped in South Bend, Indiana, at Notre Dame University to see Touchdown Jesus. Our destination was Canton, but since we were near Cleveland, we made a detour so BJ could see our corporate headquarters. After we left work, we went to the Cleveland's downtown and saw sports arenas and more. Then on our way to Canton, we stopped in Akron, Ohio, to a famous school and the childhood home of another star. We even tried to find a museum that has a replica of the star's apartment. We arrived in Canton, Ohio around 1 p.m. and enjoyed our time at the NFL Hall of Fame. Then we continued east to spend the night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In Pittsburgh, we drove downtown to more sports arenas. Then we ate at a restaurant with New Orleans soul food flair. The hilly city was beautiful to see, but not fun to drive in. After getting some much needed overnight rest, we drove back home to North Carolina with a stop in Baltimore, Maryland for lunch at Moe's Seafood. Places we explored during this trip include Jacksonville Beach, Seven Tubs Recreation Area in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Michael Jackson's childhood home in Gary, Indiana. In Chicago, Illinois, we visited Millennium Park. We went on the Wendella Architectural Boat Tour. We saw Michelle Obama's childhood home, Muhammad Ali's prior home, Elijah Muhammad's prior home, and one of President and Michelle Obama's homes. In Cleveland, Ohio, we stopped by the Brown Stadium, Guardian Stadium, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In Akron, Ohio, we visited I Promise School, LeBron James Childhood Apartments. Then in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we stopped by the Steelers Stadium and Pirate Stadium. Some new places we ate in Greenville, North Carolina were Cali Style Burger, Seafood and Wings, Huckleburger, and Jamerican Hotdogs. We tried Taqueria, Tere in Winterville, North Carolina, Finz Grill in Beaufort, North Carolina, Sea and Soul in New Bern, North Carolina, Brunch Time in Wilmington, North Carolina, Primo Latin Cuisine in Knightdale, North Carolina, Blue Dolphin in Gambrills, Maryland, Madam B's in Raleigh, North Carolina, BJ's in Rochester, New York, and then in Niagara Falls, Canada, we tried Table Rock House Restaurant and D-Spot Dessert Cafe. We ate at Fixin's Soul Kitchen in Detroit, Michigan, AB's Smokehouse in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Giovanni's in Munster, Indiana. Then in Chicago, Illinois, we tried Pecoy's Pizza, Egg Tuck, Bora Bora, Eiffel Waffle, and Don A&M Eatery. And finally, we tried Muddy Waters Oyster Bar in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Our tip for this trip is Spot Hero, a parking reservation service. I know we shared about parking scarcity for visitors in the Hamptons, but this is about choosing a low-cost way to pay for parking. We were lucky to have family in the area with some inside information because it saved us some money. BJ's cousin told us about the Spot Hero and we really liked it. Spot Hero partners with different facilities nationwide to provide tons of parking options and premium rates. We were able to schedule a parking spot near the boat tour and paid a reduced fee up front. For example, we paid under $20 for 6 hours using the app. but if we had paid to park at the facility, it would have been $61 for the same amount of time. We hope this information has been helpful because it's time for us to pause in answering where y'all been. If you enjoyed it, like it and share it. To hear more about our family travels, subscribe to this channel and sign up for notifications.